Good day everyone, I am Kimberly T. Endorte. In this presentation, I will be sharing to you about the Lesson 8, Globalization of Media. The objectives of this sharing are identify 3 ways that technology has helped speed globalization, explain how media outlets employ globalization to their advantage, and describe some advances that can be made in foreign markets. At the most basic level, globalization is the global movement of culture. Looks at how people and information move across geographical boundaries and how easily they move, as well as the cultural exchange that results from the interactions between nations. Globalization is driven by technology and results in the integration of national economies. One criticism of globalization is that it is based on cultural imperialism, or the belief that other nations should be molded to look like Western nations, which is often facilitated by the spread of Western brands, products, and media. Much globalized media content comes from the West, particularly from the United States. Driven by advertising, US culture and media have a strong consumerist bent, meaning that the ever-increasing consumption of goods is encouraged as an economic virtue, thereby possibly causing foreign cultures to increasingly develop consumerist ideals. Therefore, the globalization of media could not only provide content to a foreign country, but may also create demand for US products. Globalization as a world economic trend generally refers to the lowering of economic trade borders, but it has much to do with culture as well. Just as transfer of industry and technology often encourages outside influence through the influx of foreign money into the economy, the transfer of culture opens up these same markets. As globalization takes hold and a particular community becomes more like the United States economically, this community may also come to adopt and personalize US cultural values. The outcome of this spread can be homogenization, which means that the local culture becomes more like the culture of the United States, or heterogenization, which means that aspects of the US culture come to exist alongside local culture, causing the culture to become more diverse, or even both, depending on the specific situation. Globalization and media rely on each other. The global spread of media is facilitated by technology, resulting in cultural exchange and interconnectivity of nations. In return, the spread of information and knowledge leads to a technological advancement and greater communication. Globalization has as much to do with the corporate structure of a media company as with the products that a media company produces. Vertical integration in multinational media companies become a necessary aspect of studying globalized media. Many large media companies practice vertical integration. Newspaper chains take care of their own reporting, printing, and distribution. Television companies control their own production and broadcasting, and even small film studios often have parent companies that handle international distribution. A media company often benefits greatly from vertical integration and globalization. Because of the proliferation of US culture abroad, media outlets are able to use many of the same distribution structures with few changes. Because media rely on the speedy ability to react to current events and trends, a vertically integrated company can do all of this in a globalized rather than localized marketplace. Different branches of company are readily able to handle different markets. Further, production values for single country distribution are basically the same as those for multiple countries. So, vertical integration allows, for example, a single film studio to make higher budget movies than it may otherwise be able to produce without a distribution company that has a global reach. American culture is increasingly exported around the world thanks to globalization, and many US media outlets count strongly on their ability to sell their product in foreign markets. But what Americans consider their own culture has in fact been tailored to the taste not only of US citizens but also to those of worldwide audiences. the profit potentials of foreign markets is enormous. If a movie does well abroad, for example, it might make up for a weak stateside showing and may even drive interest in the movie in the United States. One prime example of this phenomenon of global culture and marketing is James Cameron's 1997 film Titanic, one of the most expensive movies ever produced up to that point, with an official budget of around $200 million. Titanic was not anticipated to perform particularly well in the US box office. Rather, projections of foreign box office receipts allowed the movie to be made. One reason that US studios can make these kinds of arrangement is their well-developed ties with the worldwide movie industry. Hollywood studios have agreements with the theaters all over the world to show their films. By contrast, the foreign market for French films is not nearly as established, as the industry tends to be partially subsidized by the French government. In many ways, globalization presents legitimate concerns about the endangerment of indigenous culture. Yet, simple concerns over the transfer of culture are not the only or even the biggest worries caused by the spread of American culture and values. Technology allows for quick communication, transport, and mass marketing, greatly contributing to a globalized marketplace. Media economies of scale achieve much larger profit margins by using digital technology to sell information instantly over a global market. Foreign markets offer excellent profit potential as they contribute to media companies' economies of scale. The addition of new audiences and consumer markets may help a company build a global following in the long run.